Hello and welcome to IT Chronicles 10 in Tech. I'm Carlos Casanova. We're here with Michael Curran-Hays from Kepner Trago.
Carlos.
And Kirstie Magowan.
Kirstie.
Hi,
So,
Carlos.
Michael, tell us, so, we know that the industry, it's constantly changing, the digital transformation and whatnot, and we've all been in this process space, we're hoping it matures, sometimes it does more than others, but that's what you guys live and breathe. So tell us a little bit about how that maturity is coming along that you see from the industry, and as well sort of the impacts and the stability issues that it's causing when it doesn't come along.
That's really, really important for our clients is the process maturity level. I have a wide range of clients across regulated industries primarily, and we have surprisingly some very big clients that are not that mature yet in the IT space.
Sadly, not surprising.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what they're driving is towards. We're beginning. Actually, what they're doing is driving towards trying to improve stability, and they understand that the process piece is a very, very important part of it. Sure. The piece that we tend to work with clients is just begin to help them map out their workflows. A lot of them have the maps there, but when you go back and you analyze those maps, you find out it's not exactly what they thought it was, or it doesn't actually match up to what they're actually doing. Right. And then in that kind of process, we'll then, after mapping out those workflows with them, try to identify gaps where they have areas where they can begin to improve their processes, which in the long run tends to improve their stability.
So do you find there's some common gaps that a lot of companies have?
Yeah, there's gaps I see that are fairly common are on the incident management side. That's typically where companies tend to have a lot of area for improvement. Areas that they tend to try to work on in that space would be around roles and responsibilities, escalations, who do you bring on your bridge calls in those periods of time. And what they don't do is do that well. And so, and the other thing that they tend to do is they tend to lump all incidents together. So everything's a major incident. And if everything's a major incident, then
nothing's a major incident.
Exactly. So once they get that area improved and a little bit better under control, those major incidents become much easier to deal with and they're more visible. But what they're finding now is as they begin to mature, that the really critical incidents are taking longer time than what they want to. Sure. But at the same time, they've moved through and they've improved the process to be able to focus on those.
Right. So I guess one of the things that a lot of us have been talking about for years now is this is all well and good, but ultimately it's really about the business impact. So talk about a little bit about that. Having an incident doesn't really matter until it's a business outage.
Yeah.
So that's our biggest challenge, I think, in this industry. We don't have enough people, I think, still talking about what that really means to the business, because they don't care that you have 6 critical incidents. They really don't.
Yeah, they don't care if the server's down. They want to know that their process, what they're trying to do for the business doesn't happen.
So tell us about how do you get them to see that a lot of times? I mean, I know it's a challenge, but
it's funny. A client that we're beginning to work with right now, the major incident rose to the level of the CIO, and so it was clear from everybody below that we've got to fix this issue. But you're absolutely right. If it's not something that impacts production in 6 plants where they're shut down or something, you still have to get people to understand what happens in that process and begin to manage that type of process. And what we try to do is, the big thing is identifying what we call facilitators that are really good at managing bridge calls for these major incidents. And when they get the skill sets, and a lot of them are soft skill sets, they're very good in the knowledge side of their business, but we want to be able to take them and help them understand how to manage things. Because a lot of times on those bridge calls, they've got technical people, they have remote people, they have third-party vendors, especially in the major incidents, and they have senior management on there. And that's a tough situation to work with.
The senior management really helps out, getting that ironed out, right?
No. Senior management, in many cases on a bridge call, can be less than productive. I mean, they're well-intended, obviously, but they're just not, they're senior management. Right. And they want things fixed right now, which you can understand.
Well, and I find that a lot of times, especially the technicians and a lot of those folks are less willing to be open about what might have happened and might not have happened. It just drags out the whole thing, and that's the frustrating part, right? So from the business perspective, everyone's trying to do. I don't find that folks are intentionally doing things to harm, but there is a self-preservation piece.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
It keeps feeding the actual thing we're trying to avoid.
Yeah, and one of the things we look at is what we call the human performance system, and it can be on an individual basis, it can be on a group basis. Collectively, how do they perform? And it's the idea of how do they reward these people? Because you're absolutely right. In a major incident with senior level people on there,
it wasn't me.
Nobody wants to own it, although it may be pointing in one direction. The data is moving you that way because we're very data focused. But the reality is, you would really want those people to step up and say, "Hey, I think you're right. It is us, and here's how we're going to help fix this, and what can you do?" And if management just reinforces that kind of cultural change versus...
You need to take that blame culture away.
Exactly. I was going to call blame fixing. Pull that away.
Rather than bringing out the whip like, "Oh, I think it's you."
Right. And you may be gone tomorrow because it was you.
Exactly.
You got to get out of that mindset. And the more progressive companies are beginning to understand that. But it's intense. When if you're in a, let's say, a pharmaceutical system, and 2 plants go down that are producing something, I mean, that's millions of dollars of productivity that's not going out. So there's intensity there.
And it seems like almost we also have some of the opposite, right? So I know this one organization, they focus on a key number of applications, and that's it. But if they have something in the plant going wrong and the product can't go out the door, it wasn't one of those applications, so it's not as high criticality. It's like, how could you say that?
Well, you end up... The IT side of the business absolutely helps enable the other parts of businesses, and it can be in the manufacturing, it can be in anything type.
Right.
So they have to keep those things moving, and the people on the production side, let's say it's in a manufacturing environment and something shuts down, there's an issue with a server that closes down 2 production areas in the plant. That backs everything up. That backs up the supply chain. So the faster those things can get resolved, and you've got multiple people involved in that, the quicker things get to a better spot.
Right. I'm sorry, Kirstie.
No, you carry on.
So, I mean, I remember back, it's been a few years now that Gene Kim came out with his book on, the Phoenix Project. I mean, he talks exactly about that and how we don't see software and we don't see services as a production and a manufacturing concept.
Yep.
But it really is. Same exact principles.
It's a huge piece, and the book's excellent. I think people are beginning to understand that concept. But it's hard for the normal IT person to get that sense that what we're doing here truly impacts, and the way we need to look at our business is as a manufacturing business, as a production cycle.
Right.
And they're getting there. I think I would see that as the next evolution.
Right.
You're talking about DevOps and Agile and all these things, but I begin to think that even beyond that, this is what you're going to begin to see.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much. I know there's obviously 1,000 things more that we can go into, especially with some of your partners.
Absolutely.
But I'd love to have you on again, and thank you for
I appreciate your time. It's very nice talking with you. Nice meeting you and
Thanks,
talking
Michael.
with you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Michael.
take care.